class on tarot cards, oracle cards, and chakras. So what we are going to do today is I am going to talk a little bit about using chakra oracle cards, but I'm also going to talk about using regular oracle cards and tarot cards to do readings for your chakras and how you can do that. So basically, I'm just thinking of my lack of tools that I have on me right now. I'm totally ill-prepared as usual. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just get started. And then, yeah, any questions, I will just feel free to put them in the comments and I will answer them. So again, this class is going to kind of talk about how to use kind of everyday tarot and oracle cards in combination with doing chakra work. So if you have a chakra oracle card deck, that's super cool and amazing and a really great way to work on your chakras. And those can be used pretty easily just by pulling a card for the day. You can pull a card and just see, like, you know, what chakra do I need to work on today, and pull a card, or, you know, in what area energetically is not in alignment for me today, and then pull a card from your chakra deck. So that's a really easy way to just use your typical, you know, your chakra oracle cards. They're made specifically for your chakras, so they have cards for all the chakras. So why would you want to use tarot and oracle cards that are not chakra related? Well, with tarot cards, for those of you that are familiar with tarot cards, each tarot card has a planetary association and different zodiac associations and things like that. Tarot is like layer upon layer upon layer of information, and lots you can learn from pulling tarot cards. So these planetary associations line up with the associations that we have for our chakras also, oddly enough. So something that you may have discovered along the line, or maybe you probably noticed by now, there can be a lot of different opinions as to, you know, what planets correlate with what deities correlate with what. And you might get different information depending on, you know, what resources you use, what you check out, and where the author of those resources is coming from in their studies or their information. So the ones that we have here in this class today are kind of, I think, the most popular, most typical ones you'll find, which are also the ones that I use in the chakra class. So you would want to use tarot cards with working with your chakras because they have those planetary associations, which is super cool. And then you can also create your own spreads to, you know, get specific information about your chakras, or use spreads that you find online. And if you use oracle cards, you can get all sorts of different kinds of wisdom because there's such a wide variety of oracle cards out there. So there's oracle cards for working with flowers and fairies and just positive mantras and angels and goddesses, and, you know, you name it, there's an oracle card deck for everything, right? So if you want to work on your chakras, but you also feel really called to working with fairies or goddesses, or I'm trying to think of the oracle decks that I have, some kind of more kind of new agey indie type decks also that just have different kinds of images and things that don't have any kind of, they don't really fit into a category. But those certainly have different kinds of messages than I would find in my tarot decks. So you can use oracle cards that you're called to energetically, or if there's just something you like to work with, to read for your chakras also. And it's really just another tool that you have in your toolbox to work with your chakras and see what's going on energetically for yourself. So that's why I like using tarot cards and oracle cards to read my chakras, or kind of, you know, check, not necessarily read them, but kind of do an internal check-in on my chakras. And also using oracle cards that aren't specific to chakras, because you can, again, find so many different types of guidance depending on the different kinds of cards that you use. All right, so things that you should do, and if you guys have any questions, again, put them in the comments. This is for people on the website and people on Facebook. Put them in the comments and I will answer them as I go along. So the first thing that you want to do is pick your card deck. So if you're going to use tarot cards or oracle cards, I have a tarot deck here. But so choose your card deck that you want to work with. That's the first thing you're going to do. And then you're going to do this like you would do any kind of card reading. So if you're not familiar with card reading, we do have the Tarot Basics class, which is free, which will get you started with card reading. I also have an Oracle card reading class, but I don't know if I have a link to sign up for it handy at the moment. But anyway, so if you really have no idea, let me know and I will get you information on how to read cards. So the first thing you want to do though is start just like you would any other card reading. So, get yourself nice and centered, get the crystals of your choice if you use crystals. I always have, well, I don't always, my sister bought this for me for my birthday, but this fluorite kind of point tower situation I really like to have around with me for intuition, connection to the universe and all that good stuff. Anyway, so get the tools that you have around. Do the same thing you normally do. Center yourself, clear your energy, whatever that looks like for you. Light your candles, your incense, your sage, whatever. So do all the stuff you normally would. And then shuffle your card deck just like you normally would, however you choose to shuffle. But while you're shuffling, you want to focus on an intention for this card pull that you're going to do. So maybe you just want to think, okay, well, what's my overall chakra health? Where are there blockages in my chakras? Maybe what do I need to know for each of my chakras? Just think of an intention and focus on that intention. So similar to when you're doing a card reading for tarot or oracle cards anyway, you think of a question or an intention or some kind of outcome that you want to learn about. The same thing here. So again, some good ideas are to focus on overall chakra health, just how is my overall chakra system functioning? Where are there blockages? Or maybe what do I need to know for each of my chakras? So go ahead, shuffle like normal and think about, the situation you want to know about. And then you're going to pick 7 cards. So you can do this any way that feels good to you. You can pick 7 cards straight from the top. You can pick 1 card, shuffle, 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 pick a second card. You can shuffle, cut the deck, pick a card, shuffle again, cut the deck, pick a card. So however, again, if you typically read cards, however you typically do that is how you're going to pick your cards. And again, if you don't have any experience reading cards, then definitely let us know and I will set you up with one of our free classes to help you get started with that. So basically, I typically shuffle and then pick the first top 7 unless one really pops out at me. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick your cards and you're going to line them up vertically in front of you. So your first card would be the one that you put closest to you. I know the people on the computer can't see this. Facebook, you might be able to see. Hi, Jewel. The first one is going to be your root chakra, so your first chakra, and that's going to be closest to you. Your second card is going to be for your sacral chakra. That goes on top of it, and so on until you have 7. So basically, you're just stacking them up in a vertical line, right? So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, and then it would be 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's the order you pull them in. So your first card is your root chakra. Your second card goes on top is your sacral. Third card goes on next at your solar plexus, onto your heart, your throat, your third eye, and your crown chakra. So you're going to have 7 going vertically. If you really don't like the vertical spread, you could do the same thing horizontally and do root on the left all the way to your crown on the right. So it's really not a big deal if you don't want to do it vertically. You can do it horizontally also. You're going to get the same cards and the same kind of configuration. So that's how you pull your cards. So you think of your intention and you pull your cards however way you normally would, and you just line them up in a row. So vertically is how you would typically do it, with your root chakra being closest to you. Move up the line to your crown chakra. If you don't feel called to doing it vertically, or it just seems kind of not conducive to your working space, you can certainly do it horizontally as well, and that's totally going to be fine. So that is the first thing. That's how you get started. Let me see here. Again, the people on the computer, I have slides here. So if you're on Facebook and I'm like seeing like I'm doing weird things, it's because I am. Okay. So to read your cards, the first thing you want to do now, so I'm going to lay out 7 cards in front of me. And again, I think the Facebook people might be able to see some of my table in front of me. But computer people connect. Hi, Beth. You're using tarot. You're saying you can use any deck that you're comfortable with. Yes. So Beth asked the question or stated that I'm using tarot, but I said you can use any deck. Yep. So I'm using tarot cards for this demonstration because, sorry, I gotta count them. And hi, Paula. So I'm using tarot cards for the demonstration because there's more for me to teach you about tarot cards. So with oracle cards, and the reason I don't teach a lot about oracle cards is because there's so many different kinds of oracle cards. So if you can use any kind of cards for this you want. You're gonna do the same thing that everything I just said is gonna be the same. But if you use like a deck that centers around flowers, those cards are gonna each have a meaning depending on the different flowers on the cards, or whatever is on those cards, right? So that you would need, like, as you can guess, I'm sure, each card deck would need its own information, where tarot is more like one thing, which is why I'm using tarot for the demonstration. And I'm going to talk about tarot cards and the planetary associations in this class too. So you can do it with oracle cards. I just don't talk so much about them because it really is going to depend on the oracle deck that you use. But that's a really cool way to use oracle cards with your chakras, especially if there's a certain kind of energy you're really called to. So there's also a crystal, or I'm sure there's more than one, but there's one like mainstream crystal oracle card deck. And then I'm sure there's a bunch of other ones too that are smaller scale publishers or whatever. But so, that would be a really cool way to pull a crystal card for each chakra, right? And say, well, what do I need for my chakras today? Or just focus on one chakra and pull a card for that chakra. So there's certainly really cool ways to use oracle cards also, but I am using tarot cards. Okay, so the first thing you want to do when you read them, so whether you're using oracle or tarot cards, you have them all in front of you. And the first thing you always want to do is check with your intuition first. So this is whether you're using tarot cards or oracle cards. Just see what comes up for you. So when I look at this, and I wasn't really thinking of anything, but I see in these ones, I've got some reversed cups. I've got one sword of pentacles, a lot of three major arcana cards here, and the 10 of pentacles reversed. So I'm just looking at this just intuitively and seeing that there's kind of like a lot of stuckness and like somewhat like you need to find balance. So just looking at this, my intuition's saying there's a lot of cards here that are about balance, and the reversed cards that I have are cards of like abundance and new beginnings, and those are reversed. There's a block on this abundance and new beginnings, and it's showing me that you need like some rest and some balance and to look forward, not behind you. So that's just intuitively. So first thing you want to do is look at your cards intuitively. So what does that tell you? Your intuition is always the most important thing when doing card readings or any kind of readings. So intuitively, what does it say to you? The next thing you can do is get out your guidebook or your information or whatever you have to go with your cards and look up the exact meanings of the cards. So that's the next thing you would do if you're not totally familiar with them. I have a ton of oracle card decks that I always have to look at the guidebook because I just don't know. Like I use some that are with fairies and flowers and things, and I don't know all of the meanings of the different flowers, right? And each artist and author has a different interpretation, it seems, of fairies. So I've got like 4 fairy decks, and each one I have to look at the guidebook because they're all different. So certainly with your oracle cards, you might need to really get out that guidebook. If you're using tarot cards and you're familiar with them, try to intuitively do it first. And then if you want to read the guidebook, go ahead and check on that. So the first thing you want to do when you lay your cards out is check on your intuition. So there is a theory with using cards, oracle cards or tarot cards to work with your chakras, that the darker cards, literally physically darker images, so the pictures are darker, cards indicate a blockage. So in this reading that I have here, there's only one really dark card, and that falls on the solar plexus chakra. So by that theory, this would tell me that this reading indicates that there is work to be done on the solar plexus chakra. The other ones all appear to be kind of a little bit lighter and of the same kind of artist imagery, and this one really stands out as a dark image. So that's another theory here. The really dark cards, actually literally dark cards, are going to indicate a block or kind of not in alignment, not fully functioning. And then ones that are lighter in color are going to indicate more in alignment or more balanced. And again, for those of you on Facebook, this is all written down on slides that I'll put in the group for you and in the class site also. I just haven't had a chance to put it there today, but as soon as I'm done, I'll do it. So you don't have to worry about remembering this. So that's one way you can do this. You can look at it just at a glance. So intuitively read the guidebook, look at it at a glance and look at the colors. So darker colors, maybe there's a blockage. Lighter colors, those ones seem to be doing better. Another thing you can do is then pull more cards to clarify. So again, this is the same with Oracle or Tarot cards. So again, I have the dark card here that's on the, did I say it's not the solar plexus? I'm sorry, it's not that it matters. I'm not doing this for anybody. So anyway, this card that looks darker, if I had a question about that and I was like, okay, so what do I need to know about the blockage? And then I could pull another card. And then I could maybe say, what do I need to do to unblock? And then pull another card. So now I have, so my cards are all horizontally pulled out here. And then I have, the card. I need to invent a tool to hold cards for video purposes. So this is the card for the chakra. So now I've pulled two more clarifying cards around it. So, one question I asked is an answer here, and another one is here. So that's another thing you can do, and you can do that for as many of the cards as you'd like. So you have your cards laid out 7 in a row for the 7 chakras, root to crown, left to right, or root to crown, bottom to top. And then you can go through, and if you have a question or you want to know more information, so, what is causing my blockage? What do I need to do to get past my blockage? What would change if I got past my blockage? What internal things am I doing to create the blockage? So any kind of questions that you have, you can ask and pull more clarifier cards for each individual card and get some really great insight that way. And then remember too, that as we've talked about with chakras, those of us in the chakra class here, that the chakras work as a system. So while we can go through and pull clarifier cards for each individual chakra, we do want to look at the whole image together. So, you want to look at the whole story that's being presented. So if you're using oracle cards and you're using, I keep saying like fairy decks and flower decks because I'm trying to think of, thematic decks. I have a lot of decks that are just, different artist interpretations of things but aren't thematic. So I wouldn't know how to explain those in this way. But if you had a thematic deck, so flowers, goddesses, anything of that nature, and you were looking at it, and so say, you had 4 of your 7 cards were goddesses that had something to do with being a warrior or strength or something like that. So overall, more than the majority of your cards are giving you that strength warrior message, right? So you want to look at them individually for each chakra, but then remember that they are a system. So what is the overall message? What's the big picture here? What's it telling you overall? So with tarot, you can do that by reading it as a story, going through the different parts. Each card represents a character in the story. And yeah, Paula, my sister, Anna, she's a big fan of those decks also. I think she's got a couple of them. And then if you're using oracle cards, you'd want to look for that theme. So if you were so I said with goddesses, if you had like 4 out of 7 were kind of had something to do with warriors or strength or battles or something like that, that's telling you a message. If you're using fairy oracle cards and, you had like the 2, there seems to be groups of them. So maybe 2 in the beginning are like kind of sprightly younger fairies, and the ones at the top half are maybe kind of more wisdom elderly fairies. What is that telling you? So look at them together and see what your overall message is with the cards. So look at them intuitively. Again, darker cards can indicate a blockage, so literally darker cards in their imagery. Lighter ones can indicate open, aligned, and balanced. You can certainly use your guidebook here. You can pull extra cards to clarify or ask more questions about the chakras. And then again, remember to look at them separately because they do need separate work, but then to look at the big picture also. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so now I'm going to talk a little bit more about, well, no, this is, hold on, I'm backpedaling. I was going to say I'm going to talk a little bit more about tarot than oracle, but I'm still talking about both. I got ahead of myself. Okay, so you can create your own spreads or use existing spreads. So the easiest spread, like I said, is the 7 cards, one for each chakra. Super easy. You can certainly create your own spreads, and by doing that, you can look at, you know, maybe you just want to think about, so there's a lot of us in this group that have talked about being kind of stuck in those first 3 chakras, kind of the physical chakras, and not feeling like you're able to push past that. So maybe you want to do a spread just for those 3 chakras. And Beth says the darker part kind of worries me. The new deck that I got, Gilded Tarot, are all dark. Okay, so that's a theory, Beth. So in that case, you know, you really have to use, you know, your personal judgment. Maybe just throw that theory to the wind. You know, I know many of you probably know Anna, the other sister here, and I don't know if I don't think she's watching this right now. I just left her house actually. She was babysitting my kiddo for me. But anyway, Anna has tarot decks that are like all insanely dark. She loves them. So you know that just wouldn't work. So you know, for you then, that might not be a way to read that particular deck, and then just read the cards for how they are. That's totally fine too. So that's just one way, but you can ignore that way if it doesn't work for your deck. I have the Dreams of Gaia tarot, which is also pretty dark. And I have like the Antique Anatomy Tarot, which is it's a smaller published indie deck. So that one would not be good for even a chakra reading at all. I would never use that for a chakra reading. Or like the Hermetic Tarot, if you're familiar with that. Like I said, I'm totally unprepared. My tarot decks are usually all right here behind me, and they are all in my kitchen because I was doing something with them all. And I only have this one with me. But the Hermetic Tarot, that one's all black and white. That would not really be useful for a chakra reading. The Antique Anatomy that I was mentioning, that would not be useful for chakra readings. So some of them just aren't conducive to certain types of readings, and that's totally cool too. So yeah, you can ignore that theory. Anyway, so you can create your own spreads or use this existing 7-card spread. So creating your own spreads is cool because you can focus on one area. So if you want to focus on just the 3 lower chakras, the physical chakras, you can do that. And maybe you pick 3 cards. Maybe you just want to do a 3-card reading. So your left card might be something like, you know, what do I need to know about my physical chakras? Your middle card might be, what can I release to move forward with my physical chakras? And then your 3rd card might be, what is the outcome if I do that work, if I do that releasing? That's kind of quick off the top of my head. But so you can make up your own spreads. 3-card spreads are really easy to come up with different things on your own. And you could even try to do fancier ones too. So you can find ones that other people have created or make up your own that are specific to certain parts of the chakra system, one chakra, you know, a bundle of chakras, whatever. And you can do that with oracle cards or tarot cards. Some other 3-card readings you can do: where am I blocked, how to unblock, and then the journey forward. So what can I expect moving forward? Those would be 3 cards. And again, you can do that with oracle or tarot cards. Another 3-card option would be my overall chakra health. What is serving me and what do I need to release? That would be another 3-card option. And you can always pull clarifier cards for, you know, additional cards for every card that you pull to ask more information or gain clarity. So now I'm going to kind of change gears a little bit and talk specifically about tarot. And we're going to go through kind of some of the tarot associations. So you can incorporate tarot associations. So these are planetary associations, zodiac and planetary associations, which is what makes tarot a really cool tool for working with the chakras. Okay, so there's two parts to this idea here. Feel that the people on the computer, I'm like exclusively talking to my phone because I'm so used to doing it. I'm not looking at my webcam at all. But you know, I'm still here for you. Okay, so there's two ways to do this. You can use tarot cards for just doing a chakra reading, which is what I've been talking about this whole time, using tarot cards just to read your chakras. Or you can actually incorporate these associations and the correspondences to your chakras in your tarot readings. So if you're doing a tarot reading on a career reading, or like you're using a new moon spread that you found somewhere, or just any spread that you came across, online or in a book, and you pull out all these cards and, say one of the card positions is for like next steps forward or something. That's just what the card position is. And you pulled a certain tarot card, you could actually reference, look back, and again, I'll put the document in the group and also on the website for the chakra class. You could reference the list. Sorry, my baby belly's starting to get in my way and be super uncomfortable. You can reference the list and see what the association is for that card and incorporate that into your reading. So there's so many levels of tarot, so many. So if that position is my next steps forward, and you see that card has an association with the heart chakra, say, so in that reading, you could look at that and say, so this could be a reading for career, love, a full moon reading, and Aquarius moon reading. It could be any kind of reading. But you could look at that position and say, oh, well, this card in my next steps forward category or position, it correlates to the heart chakra also. So maybe in my next steps forward, I need to do some heart chakra work, right? And so there's two ways to use this information. One, with tarot and oracle cards, is just to do spreads based on, your chakras. And with the tarot, you can use the planetary associations that come up. And in any single tarot card reading that you're doing ever, any reading ever, you can look at the cards in the reading, in the spread, and then look at the associations to the chakras and incorporate that information into the reading, which is really cool to do. And why I love teaching tarot, because there's so much to learn and so much to know. I just have to move my phone because I can't see the slides on the computer. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all of the associations because, you guys can read them on the PDF, I'm sure, that I'm going to put up for you. Oh no, now I've lost my awesome phone positioning that I had. Kind of, not really the same. Okay, anyway, I'm not going to read them all, but I'll give you some of them. And for those of you that are on the computer, you can see some of them also on your screen. So just as an example, for this, I have the sacral chakra here. So the sacral chakra has a couple of different planets it's associated with, but one of them is the moon, because the moon controls the tides and the water, and that's associated with emotions, which is the sacral chakra. And then the moon and water are also associated with the suit of cups in tarot. So the moon and the sacral chakra are represented by the high priestess, the chariot, the moon card, the 2 of cups, the 3 of cups, the 4 of cups, and the king of cups in tarot. And there's all of these associations for all of the chakras, and they're all in this document, which I am going to give you, so that you don't have to listen and memorize these or anything like that. But basically what you would do is, if I pulled, so here I don't have any of these in front of me, I don't think. Let's see if I can find one. But if I pulled one of those cards in a reading, so 3 of cups. So say in a reading I had the 3 of cups, and I was doing any kind of reading. So, and I'll show that up here too. So if I pulled in a reading the 3 of cups, and this is if I was just doing a 3 card past, present, future reading, and this was in my future, right? And so I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, my future is showing me fun time with friends. That's what the Three of Cups is hanging out with your friends, having some good emotions flowing and all that good stuff. But then I might also say that this is my sacral chakra at work too. So maybe in my future, my sacral chakra is going to be nice and aligned. So that's another way to incorporate this into this information into your regular everyday tarot readings that are not centered on your chakras. For sure. So that's a really cool way to use this. And that's pretty much it. So when you get the document, so you can see the associations, I think that will make, pretty good sense to you. Are there any questions about anything? I know that this might have been maybe a little bit murky. So if there's any questions, I'll just wait here a few minutes, see if anybody has any questions. But basically, you can use tarot cards or oracle cards. And you can read just for your chakras, or you can, with tarot cards specifically, incorporate the chakras into any reading that you do. So obviously that's not the same with oracle cards. That's different there. So Lauren says, that's so cool. Love the many layers and significance in tarot. Drawn 3 cups constantly all week and at least 6 readings now. Well, Lauren, I don't know. You need to party on with some friends or something. Come hang out in real life. Except I'm not that much fun in real life, to be honest. I'm always tired and hungry. I'm pretty boring. But so yeah, sacral chakra, friends. Yeah, there's so many layers of tarot. I love teaching tarot. We have this tarot school program that we've not talked a lot about recently, but we have so many tarot classes about like reading tarot like a story, and using it for this like path walking journeys, or path working, some people call it. And what else? Fairies and tarot. I can't even think of them all. Numerology and astrology and tarot. So many. Beth says, is there a special way to actually pull a card? I mean, like down and flip up, or from the side and flip over? Okay, that's totally up to you how you want to flip your cards. Good. I don't have an answer for that. There's no special way. Whatever feels good to you. So I am so this deck, this is a tarot deck, and you can see, so that would depend too on if you want to read reversals or not, if you're a tarot card reader. This deck, you can see if a card's reversed because the backing is, one direction. It's not, I don't have an example of one that's not. So if you're a person, like I read reversals, so, in this deck, I'd be able to see if it was reversed, but in most of the decks I read with, especially for other people, I can't tell, and I just flip it straight over. I don't do anything like fancy. I just flip it right over, and I wouldn't be able to tell if it was reversed or not. In this deck, I'd be able to see if it was reversed, but I could still flip it and it would stay reversed. So Beth says she's just always wondered. Yeah, no, it's totally up to you. There's, I think Anna flips them the same way that I do. I know some people pull like from the top and then put it down kind of this way, and I pull from the bottom and just flip it over. But it's whatever calls to you. Some people will do it differently too, depending on what they're doing. So like if somebody's doing party readings where they're doing 10 readings in a row and they're like doing the same spread constantly, the same 4-card spread for everybody at the party, and everything's the same and there's no differences. Sometimes people just have a whole different method for when they're doing something like that. And then some people do the same thing all the time. So Beth says, so you'd reverse a reversal doing it that way, I guess. But then if it wasn't reversed, you'd make it reversed, right? So just my advice though is whatever way you do it, stick with that way throughout the reading. And that's just my personal advice. I wouldn't switch. So I wouldn't go doing 2 different methods. I would do one method throughout. That is, if you could see that it was reversed by the back of the card. Yeah, I guess you could. I don't know. The way that I do it, if it's reversed, it stays reversed. So just pulling it off the top, it stays that way. Even if I can see that it's reversed, you know, it just stays reversed. But for people who don't read reversals, yeah, consistency. I would say just be consistent. Whatever you do, be consistent throughout the reading. Some people don't read reversals though at all. And so if they pull a reversal, they're going to flip the card around anyway. And which is also totally okay. And in which case it wouldn't really matter how you pulled the card because you're going to flip it anyway if you don't read reversals. So that's that. Are there any other questions that I can answer for anybody? Anything at all? Tarot or oracle related before I say goodbye? I don't see anything. I feel like I need the Jeopardy music in the background. I'm always like hate to just get off because there's sometimes a delay, and so as soon as I hit end and then there's a comment, I'm like, oh no, I missed it. Okay, I think that I don't have any more questions. So I think we're free to go. So I will make sure that these videos are uploaded to all of the necessary places where they need to be uploaded to, and the document as well. And if you guys have any questions at all, I know this, I was just thinking Bueller in my head, Beth. I didn't want to say it out loud and be like, I was just thinking that in my head. I was thinking Bueller. That's so funny. Yes, so any questions you have later, put them in the group, or if you do a reading for yourself and you're like, if you do one and you incorporate that with tarot and you incorporate the associations and you're not sure if you're like doing it correctly or if you have a question, feel free to put the readings in the group also, and I will let you know, like if you have a question, let me know your question. I'll answer your question about it and point you in the right direction or get you situated. But once you see it on the document, it's going to seem like probably way easier than I made it seem like it is. So that's it. I'll let you guys go, and I will see you all over the weekend. Hope you guys all have a good weekend. All right, thanks for joining me. Bye.